The dynamic between Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White is very interesting because clearly it's a relationship with a basis of respect. I mean, when Stephanie White was hired, Clark was thrilled, super excited. And coach said all the right things about coming in and coaching the Fever and coaching Caitlin Clark. Then fairly early in the season, I would say there was a bit of a philosophical divide, but it never got to be completely worked out, right? And it wasn't as if they were at odds, but I noticed when they would talk about things, and for instance, when Caitlin Clark had come back from one of her injuries.
The relationship between Caitlin Clark and her coach, Stephanie White, has always been fascinating to watch. From the outside, it has layers: respect, tension, misunderstanding, admiration, frustration, and a whole lot of competitive fire. Their connection has never been simple, and part of what makes it so interesting is that both women are wired to win, each in their own intense way. Their personalities are strong, their beliefs are firm, and their approaches to basketball come from very different experiences. When you mix all of that together, you get a dynamic that is complicated, compelling, and still very unfinished. When Stephanie White was first hired by the Indiana Fever, everything seemed perfect. Caitlin Clark was excited. The fans were excited. The team looked ready to start fresh with a proven leader and a rising superstar. White said all the right things during interviews. She talked about coaching Clark, about building a competitive culture, about creating something strong for the future. Clark, who had just finished an unbelievable run at Iowa, appeared thrilled to have a coach who respected her talent and promised to help her grow. But things shifted quickly. Very early in the season, almost before anyone realized what was happening, a small philosophical difference began to appear between the two. It wasn't open conflict. It wasn't arguing. It was more like a subtle tension, a quiet disagreement about how the team should run and how Clark should play within that system. Fans noticed it. Analysts noticed it. And slowly, that quiet tension began to grow louder, especially whenever either one of them spoke publicly about the team's strategy. To understand why this small divide grew into something bigger, you have to go back to a key moment. It happened on national television, after Clark returned from one of her early season injuries. A reporter asked her about playing off the ball and sharing the responsibility of bringing the ball up the court with her teammate. Clark respectfully repeated some of the coaching points Stephanie White had been emphasizing, mainly the need for her to be a better screener and to move without the ball more often. She said all the usual things players say when discussing adjustments, that she was learning, that she understood the plan, that she was trying to help the team in new ways. But then she added something that instantly changed the mood. With a very direct, almost fiery tone, Clark stated, "I'm at my best with the ball in my hands." Those 10 words traveled across the league like a shockwave. This wasn't just a casual comment. It wasn't a simple preference. It sounded like a firm, confident declaration of who she believed herself to be as a player. And because her coach had been emphasizing something different, more off-ball movement, more responsibility for other players to initiate the offense, the contrast between their two philosophies suddenly became crystal clear. Clark's statement felt honest and raw. It also felt like a challenge. Some people saw it as confidence. Others saw it as defiance. But no matter how you interpreted it, the tension in that moment was unmistakable. It exposed the growing divide between player and coach for everyone to see. Interestingly, this wasn't the first hint of disagreement. Months earlier, before a key game against the New York Liberty, White had talked about wanting Clark to get more breaks by playing without the ball. Clark responded politely, but it was obvious she didn't fully agree. She emphasized again that she was most effective when she was the one directing the offense. This wasn't disrespect. It was identity. Clark has always believed in her ability to control the pace, to create shots for herself and others, and to be the engine of every offense she touches. From Iowa to the pros, she's been the main decision-maker on the court. Changing that was not easy. At the same time, White had a job to do. To her, developing Clark meant pushing her to grow in areas she wasn't already elite at. In White's mind, challenging your best player is a sign of respect, not criticism. And she believed that a more complete Clark would help the Fever become a more complete team. But when those two perspectives collided publicly, fans and media outlets took the story and ran with it. Headlines appeared claiming that White wanted to limit Clark or change her game too much. Hot take commentators accused White of not understanding Clark's unique talent. Some even claimed White's system was holding Clark back. Suddenly, a simple basketball disagreement had become a full-blown storyline. What made things even more complicated was another surprising twist. The Fever started winning without Clark on the floor. She was dealing with multiple injuries, a painful ankle problem, then a serious groin injury that eventually ended her season. During those stretches when she couldn't play, something unexpected happened. The team looked good. They didn't just scrap their way to victories, they played clean, organized basketball. They looked like a team that believed in its system. This was not a bad thing for Clark personally, but it definitely shifted the public conversation. It showed that White's coaching philosophy had real value. It proved that the Fever's system wasn't solely reliant on Clark. And it showed that White was capable of adjusting, teaching, and rallying her players even during adversity. Clark supported the team every step of the way. She celebrated wins from the bench. She congratulated her teammates. She even posted publicly about how proud she was of White's leadership. That small gesture said a lot about their off-court relationship. Despite all the speculation and rumors, there was clearly respect between them. Maybe even more than people realized. And to be fair, Clark has never been afraid to challenge coaches, especially when she believes strongly in her own style. Back at Iowa, she once compared herself to Steph Curry when talking about deep three-point shots, saying that, "You don't tell Steph Curry not to take those." That comment revealed a lot about how she views herself and her responsibilities on the court. She trusts her instincts above all else. She has an inner fire, and that fire has been compared many times to the competitive spirits of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. That kind of mindset isn't easy to coach, but it's also what makes her great. On the other side, White has her own intense competitive streak. In an interview on Sue Bird's podcast, she joked that she and Clark are both psychos when it comes to wanting to win. She meant it in a positive way, a recognition that both of them will do anything to succeed. But she also said something important. She believes strongly in coaching her best players the hardest. In her mind, superstar status does not mean special treatment. It means higher expectations. She explained that she wants her stars to grow, especially in the areas that are hardest for them. And for Clark, the hardest thing was letting go of the ball sometimes and trusting her teammates to handle the pressure. White believed that learning to do this would not only help the team but also help Clark become an even better all-around player. That philosophy isn't for everyone. Some stars welcome that kind of challenge. Others resist it. Clark is intensely competitive and has been the center of every offense she's ever played in. So it's natural that she would push back. And that pushback isn't disrespect. It's part of who she is. The media made their relationship look far more dramatic than it truly was. A small comment about Kelsey Mitchell's importance to the team was twisted into an insult toward Clark, even though the Fever were simply trying to re-sign a key veteran. White couldn't say a single sentence about anyone else without fans reading into it. That kind of pressure made every interaction between the two seem bigger than it was. Yet through it all, a deeper trust was forming between them. Behind the scenes, Clark and White communicated openly. They respected each other's honesty. They liked each other personally. And most importantly, they shared the same goal, winning. The real tragedy is that injuries kept them from truly developing their on-court chemistry. The season robbed them of the chance to fully explore how their two basketball minds could blend into something powerful. Fans never got to see the version of the Fever where Clark was healthy, White was settled into her coaching rhythm, and the whole team had time to adjust to the new system. Instead, what we got were flashes, brief moments when the Fever looked unstoppable, even when Clark was playing hurt. Moments when it felt like something special was about to click. But the injuries shut everything down before that potential could fully bloom. Now we're left with one huge unanswered question. Can Clark's need to control the game coexist with White's insistence on challenging her to grow beyond that? This question isn't simple. It's a clash of philosophies. It's a test of trust. It's a puzzle made of talent, ego, ambition, and leadership. Both women want to win. Both are strong-minded. Both refuse to back down easily. And both are convinced that their way is essential for success. That's what makes this so captivating. White wants a system where Clark elevates her teammates. Clark wants freedom to make plays in the moment. White sees growth opportunities. Clark sees the path she knows best. Neither of them is wrong. They just see the game through different lenses. If they find a way to meet in the middle, the Fever could become a dynasty. The potential is enormous. The talent is undeniable. The competitive fire is unmatched. And the respect between them, even through tension, is real. But if they can't fully align, the friction could continue. What makes their story so compelling is that both outcomes feel possible. The path forward depends on communication, trust, compromise, and a shared understanding of where they are heading. Both of them want the same thing, championships. But the journey to get there requires balance between freedom and structure, instinct and strategy, individuality and teamwork. They genuinely like each other. They genuinely trust each other. They are both incredibly good at what they do. But greatness isn't easy, and sometimes the hardest relationships in sports are the ones that create the biggest success. As the future unfolds, fans will keep watching, analyzing, and wondering whether this powerful partnership will turn into something legendary or remain one of the most intriguing what-ifs in modern basketball. Whatever happens next, the story of Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White is far from over.